Então, olá a todos, sejam bem-vindos aqui ao TriCast. Hoje eu posso dizer, não diria que seja um podcast, diria mais que seja um episódio um pouco diferente em que vamos apresentar-vos a nossa nova parceria do podcast com a empresa britânica da EZGAINS. Queremos dar-vos a conhecer, no fundo, a marca e os produtos que, no meu caso, eu estou a usar e portanto, a marca está-me a apoiar como atleta e também agora a apoiar o podcast, e acredito que serão produtos que possam vir a ter vocês terem interesse, especialmente quem faz longa distância e tem interesse em melhorar o rendimento no ciclismo. Estamos a falar principalmente do produto das wheel covers, que são capas para as vossas rodas, ou seja, vocês podem transformar a vossa roda normal numa roda lenticular. Comigo hoje tenho o CEO da empresa, o Clint, e vou então falar com ele e vamos basicamente explicar-vos os produtos e as vantagens de terem aqui a oportunidade de fazerem melhorias na vossa bicicleta com menos gastos. Let's talk about EZGAINS with maybe the best person to talk with, Clint. Thanks to, first of all, to take your time and be here talking about your products. And first of all, how you doing, Clint?
Yeah, very well, thank you. And hello, Portugal, and everyone else who's listening. And thanks for taking the time to listen.
Okay.
And thank you, Hugo, for inviting me onto the show.
Let's start with maybe the first question is about how the company starts, how it was your idea to start EZGAINS, and the main question was, when you start, what was the purpose, what was the goal of the company?
Yes, I'm a triathlete myself, and in about 2015 I started doing triathlon. I wanted to go faster. My bike was only about a 400-500 pound bike, so obviously I knew having a disc wheel would make me go quicker, and I didn't want to invest like thousands of pounds into a disc wheel. So what happened is I ended up buying all these various different covers you could stick on, and then a different cover from America, one from the UK. I used them all and just thought, without sounding rude, they're pretty like rubbish.
Yeah.
So it kind of started me on a journey of thinking, wow, why has no one actually made a solid disc cover that acts like a disc wheel?
Mm-hmm.
So in 2017, I started looking at different variations and different ways of actually making a cover that would fit to the wheel. I soon found out you just can't get a bit of plastic and plonk it on there because it doesn't work well. I also had some bad experiences with the covers that I bought, like they came off when I was cycling and got caught in the wheel. Ended up in a bush, and I just thought, these are just not good stuff to put on your wheel. We need to invent something that's good here. So the initial journey started because I wanted to go quicker, and I've got a lot of passion in triathlon and cycling. And then it ended up turning into my full-time job now. So in about 2017, I started off with what we call a soft mold tool. So that's a tool that you can play with, and you can slowly change and shape each different like disc wheels. You'd get a bit of plastic, put it on there. And I soon found out that we needed loads of different variations of the Easy Disc to work across all the wheels. Mm-hmm. But you can't go out and buy hundreds of molds, because each stainless steel mold can cost anywhere from £6,000 to £10,000. So I had to work out a variation on it. So what I've done between 2017 up to about 2021 is I literally had various different Easy Discs that I'd sell a few of them, bring them back in ones that did work, give the customer either a new version of it. I'd be trying them on friends.
Yeah.
It just went on for 2 or 3 years. Now, with the Easy Disc, there's like a recipe that goes with it. So anyone can tell me what wheel they have, and we have a recipe to tell you what disc will work on it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they don't work within the rulings of, if you have a 50mm, you have to have this certain version. There's certain different wheels which are made a bit thinner or shaped a bit differently.
Yeah.
That requires a different Easy Disc. So I would say that it wasn't until about 2020 when we started to actually nail the actual shape of the Easy Disc.
So it's quite recent. Yeah.
And then it was then disc brakes were suddenly all coming out, and everyone was getting disc brakes. We were like, wow, this one is pretty tough, because everyone knows between your spokes and the caliper, you've probably got about 3 or 4 mil.
Yeah.
Maybe up to 5 mil. So I really had to nail that. So
Change
again,
all the,
yeah. So we needed another mold. I had to get all the variations, and I just done all this all again.
Yeah.
And then I think it would have been about September 2020, we kind of nailed, we got the correct sizing on it. And then what happened is we started selling a few more. Again, I was still working full time now in 2020 in my other job. And then the feedback was, oh, they're not as fast as a disc wheel. So I needed to answer that question and improve aerodynamically. They were as quick as a disc wheel, or comparable to, even if I thought if they're not quite quick, it gives a good option. So in April 2020, we went to the wind tunnel for the first time, and that was when we done various testings of putting an easy disc to different depth wheels and showing comparables.
Yeah.
And once I got that information through the wind tunnel, it was like absolute gold dust, because where people were saying, I don't want an easy disc because it's not the same as a disc wheel, it's way slow. I kind of ticked all that box, and the business started really taking off. It was 2020. So 2020.
So you go to the wind tunnel and you compare the easy disc to a full disc wheel.
Yeah. So what we've done,
costs around, I see it between 1,000 and 2,000 euros, right?
Oh, it's much more than that. It depends.
Much more.
Oh, do you mean how long the tunnel costs in Silverstone?
No. I'm saying the disc wheel that you are comparing.
Oh, yeah.
Was a top disc wheel, right?
Yeah. So this was the first time round. We've been in the wind tunnel 3 times now, and we tend to spend a whole day there. So on this first occasion, what we were doing, we were showing comparables of what it would do if you added an easy disc to a 25 mil wheel, a 50 mil, and an 80 mil wheel. And then also we tested it against a disc wheel as well. So the comparables against a £1,000 disc wheel on this occasion, I'm not going to mention who manufactured the disc wheel, because I just don't think it's good.
Yeah.
It showed it was equal to what the disc wheel was, which is fabulous news. And then it showed some remarkable data of adding an easy disc to a 25 mil wheel. Obviously gives you a bigger gain than adding it to an 80 mil wheel. But the easy disc and an 88 mil wheel will be slightly fractional better than an easy disc added to a 25 mil wheel. Hopefully that doesn't sound too confusing, but if you're someone who's
I understand it. Yeah. So basically, if you have a 80 millimeters wheel and you buy the wheel cover, it will have a little bit of a better performance. But a question that I have is that if we think other way, people with 80 millimeters wheel have a good performance wheel. And people with 20 millimeters wheel, if they pass to easy disc, they will gain much more than a guy that pays for 80 to cover.
You exactly. You covered that perfectly. I think when I said it, it was a bit confusing.
Yeah. But I think one of the questions that maybe a lot of people ask and think is that maybe, but how it's possible? Like, this wheel cover costs around, for Portugal, around 250 euros. How it's possible to compare to a disc wheel that is 2K or 1.5K? So it's a difficult process maybe to show the people and to have the trust, because some of the people always don't believe in that.
Yeah, I've always been someone who likes to break the mold of thinking anyway, all through my life. So this has just been one of the things which I challenge. I started off thinking, okay, it won't be as good as a disc wheel. Okay, you'll be much better off spending the money on a disc wheel, even if it's as close as. I wanted to sell it at that kind of area. But as the product progressed and I've done all the testing, it's just, because it moves on to another series of testings, which we done later on, which was more recent. If you don't mind me jumping to that one now. So in January this year, 2023, we brought out another version, which is called the SL, the super light version. Because what happened after overcoming the objections of showing that it's aerodynamically as efficient as a disc wheel, there was two other areas which I found that we had to counteract. And that was actually the weight of it to start off with, because the previous easy disc would be slightly heavier than what a combined disc wheel would be. So what we done is we bought out a polycarbonate version, which then added to a pretty good wheel, would then weigh around the same as a top end wheel. So it really ticked that box at the same time. Now, the other objection was, we're looking at a disc wheel. It's great putting on a disc wheel, right? But if you're getting a disc wheel that's 3 or 4 years old, or it's a cheaper disc wheel and it's got a pretty rubbish hub, then you're not really getting the gains, because we also have to take into the equation not only the aerodynamic capacity of something, but how something rolls. Rolling on a set of bearings. So a good quality hub is always an important side of it. So what I wanted to do is challenge again that other way of thinking that's molded into our heads, that just a disc wheel would be better than an easy disc. So what I also done at Silverstone in this year in January is I took a good back wheel with a DT Swiss 180 hub, added an easy disc SL to that, and they put it in their rolling resistance machine, which they had to set up for us. And what I was trying to prove, that an easy disc with an SL added to it with a decent hub up against a 1,000-pound wheel could actually like even roll the equivalent, but it actually rolled better.
Yeah.
So it was only like half a watt, so it was a like a very small difference, but it was still the equivalent of, or very slightly better. So what I was trying to prove is, for everyone out there, right, don't be kind of pulled into this thing of, if you spend 2.5 grand on a disc wheel, it's going to be the best disc wheel ever.
Yeah.
You've got to go out, spend 3 grand on your disc wheel. You've got to spend 2 grand on your other wheel. What I'm suggesting is, go and buy a decent rear wheel with a decent hub and add the easy disc on it.
Yeah.
That's just going to be the same as your 3 grand disc wheel. So unless you have absolute money to burn, it's a bit pointless actually going and buying that disc wheel.
Yeah, because I think nowadays a lot of people buy the TT time trial bikes, and the bikes don't come with disc wheels for sure. They come with normally 60 millimeters. My TT bike was with 40 millimeters. And what I was thinking is, I have a good wheel, but I need to have a deeper wheel. So the best way is to go for the disc. But the disc is like one of the most like expensive upgrades to gain. So what's per cost? A disc wheel of like 2,000 euros. It's massive investment. So I will not do it. So the best way was to find a solution, and I think that's what you did with the company. You find a solution to like not a problem, but for some people it's like impossible to invest some money in a disc wheel, because the bikes are very expensive, and if you need to add another big investment, it will not be possible. And I think that's it. If you have like a good hub and you add the easy disc, I think it's like one of the best upgrades you can make with low investment.
Thank you. And then you can, the way I see it is, you can take the money that you would have spent on that disc wheel and get a really good like
suit.
Get some coaching. Like those parts of like your training plans, you could invest that extra money that you've got and put it into that. We've got now probably around about 30 to 40 professional athletes using EasyDisc, which is just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that's another question that I have, because you can feel very good about that, because the top tier athletes want the best product. So if a pro athletes trust in your products, that's the best validation you can have, because they are like leaving the sport, so they need to perform. They will not put a thing that is worse because
Yeah.
then they don't gain money on races if you lose time. And nowadays, if you lose like 1 minute on the bike, it's a lot. So yeah, that's a good thing.
Especially at your level, it's just races won within seconds.
Yeah, because
it's also, I've got to say, it's just on the other part, it's a fabulous feeling. Like I was at a big race at the weekend and I was walking through transition. It was in the UK. There was more easy discs than what there were disc wheels. I literally was taking pictures, but I was limited for time. I got to 40.
Yeah.
I think there was probably about 50 or 60 easy discs. And it's just the feeling it gives me. The messages I get from people, and I'm like, I PB'd this course, you know, thanks so much for like what you've done with the easy disc. And it's just that feeling is just fabulous as well, that I've maybe played a small part in some people's dreams. Not just, this is just the average athlete as well. This is what I love. It's like, it's the journey that I took. When I started off triathlon, I was 17 stone. My mate invited me to do a triathlon, I think for a laugh. And my first Olympic distance was like 3 hours and 20 minutes. And I couldn't really swim. So I ended up breaststroking it. I could bike a little bit. And my run like was about a 1 hour 20, 10K at the end. But I love that start of the journey and how triathlon
and then you start to try to improve every details.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And but you are saying that in UK you start to seeing more than 50% of the guys that have disc wheel to use easy disc, and that's a thing that I see you have a big potential growth. So we want in Portugal to see that too. That's why we are doing that, to make sure everyone knows about the product, because I was not aware about this. I don't know that it's possible to have a solution for a wheel cover. I was not aware of that. I was thinking that you have a disc wheel or you don't have anything in the middle. But that's pretty good. And you think that maybe in the future, like you can be like a problem to the brands that have disc wheels, because they have like expensive products that are compared in gains to your products that are more cheap.
I haven't had a challenge from them yet or anything, but I secured the business very well. So I have patents on a UK patent and also a European patent as well pending. I haven't heard from them yet, but you know, the world's got to evolve, hasn't it? It can't stay in kind of that's a disc wheel and that's a wheel. You kind of got to challenge these different ways of doing stuff. So it's the same thing as the aero chainring cover as well. So it's just another added solution. Instead of buying a whole aero chainring that's going to cost you over £1,000, if you've got an average chainring and you want to add the aero cover to it and save 3 to 5 watts, then you can do that.
That's other product that we can talk a little bit. And I see a lot of professional athletes using them, and it's not just upgrade just for watts. It's an upgrade that looks pretty clean, looks pretty good. I think maybe a lot of people buy it more for the static side.
I think also you hit the nail on the head, what you said earlier as well. I'm just going to pick up on that, because it is overcoming people's ways of thinking about a disc wheel, and the easy disc can't be as fast as what a disc wheel is. I think that's one of the objections that is constantly there, and I've got to kind of get this information out there a bit more. And as well, the easy disc is for everyone. It's not just for the quick. A lot of people think, oh, I'm not fast enough to have a disc wheel, but this is part of it. It's part of the norm to like have a disc wheel to go if you want to go quick.
And like in some parts of the course, everyone goes fast. Like if you have a 2% incline descent, you go fast. If you like you don't need to be fast in all the 90k or 180 if the easy disc help you in 60% of the course, because you don't have any loose on the climbs to have the easy disc. You prove that, right?
And the great thing that's also happened within now we've sold over 4,000 easy discs. I get a lot of feedback. I get well connected with my customers.
Yeah.
The feedback that we get from them, they give me average savings all the time. So we've got all that information. We also, not only the aero data, we've done a lot of outside testing and everything as well. We're all involved in time trial and triathlon that's involved with the business. So we've got all that information that feeds back in.
Okay. Yeah, so we talk about the product, but maybe one of the most important things, and maybe one of the things that people are wants to know, it's about the gains, the real gains. So to have like a comparison between like maybe half distance and Ironman to a 90k bike or 180, how many watts can you save? And how many minutes can you save in a full Ironman or a half distance?
Yeah, so the equation can be built up from two things. So first of all, you have aero data. So what that is, that's when just the wind travels over you and it gives you a watt reading for how much it can save. But also there's another effect what the Easy Disc has, and it's a push effect. So if it's the wind catches you and it pushes you along, so it gives you more driving force through the air. So the information that we have is built up from feedback from athletes, outside testing, and aero data.
Yeah, so complete one.
Yeah, so you'd be looking around about 2.5 minutes that you'd save over a 90k by adding an Easy Disc.
So half distance, yeah.
Yeah, half distance. So this is regardless of whether this is based on a triathlon course, not a hill climb course. If it's a triathlon course, it's based on that information, and then 5 minutes over a full distance. So if you're actually slower over the course, it can save you more time as well.
Yeah, because right.
On the course for longer.
If we are thinking like maybe a 5 hours Ironman, you can cut for 4:55. So
that's correct. Yeah,
around 35 kilometers per hour. That's a good one. That's a fast one. So if you ride like 6 hours, 7 hours, maybe you can add like 30 seconds more, 40 seconds.
Yeah, you can just do the equations based on that. But whatever way you look at it, it's just saving you a massive amount of time for a small. And I've not had, this is the total honest truth, anyone ever put an Easy Disc on, ride it, and tell me they haven't gone quicker.
Yeah.
In all my time of ever
you feel it,
yeah. Ever told you that?
Yeah.
I think I often will like take off my Easy Disc and go out for a ride, and I really feel like miles slower. It just does not feel right at all.
Yeah. So another thing that I want to talk is about the advantage about the wheel. I was testing the wheel. I want to race on them, but I will do it for sure in August in 70.3 Lati, and to save like the 2 minutes that can make a big difference in the final result. But one thing that I see like a big advantage is that like last weekend I was riding in a group ride with another athlete from here that is using the Easy Disc, because we start to now see like some athletes using them. And we are going to a place in Cascais that is pretty windy. It's called Guincho. So it was like crosswinds. And the people on the group say to him, don't go there. Maybe we avoid that because you have the disc wheel and you will be on trouble. And he was saying, no, I feel confident about it. And everyone says, it will not be good. He will stop or something. And he just smashed all the way. It's like 15 minutes. But he was pushing very hard on the front, and he drops almost everyone. I was maybe one of the ones that can stick. And in the end, I question about how it feels, and he says it was pretty normal, like I was without the Easy Disc on. So with the wind, it's much better riding than a normal disc wheel. So that's a big advantage.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, there were some tests done at Nottingham and Trent University about using a disc wheel, and not using a disc wheel, and it did come up with adding stability to the bike, and the winds weren't affecting it. The winds can affect more your front wheel rather than your rear wheel, because your front wheel's on an axis and the rear wheel's underneath your butt, so it holds it steady.
Yeah, maybe it will be hard, but maybe in the future we can have disc wheels on Cozumel and in Ironman World Championship in Hawaii because of that. And because it's not legal to race with disc wheels because of the winds. But if we see that easy disc can be more stable, it will not make sense to don't be legal, I think.
Yeah, that's quite a hard one, because you'll be challenging.
It's quite a hard one.
Ironman, and they're a law of their own. But
it's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah, there are some people that have challenged that a little bit. There was a YouTube video with parkour wheels on it, and they actually went out to Kona, and the owner of Parkours, they were looking at disc wheels out there, and then they done some tests at Nottingham and Trent University to show that they actually add stability to the bike. So it was a bit of a challenge on that, but I think if it was done correctly and that information was passed over, then they would have to look at it, because it's the same as with the age group and elite stuff as well. They can like ban the disc wheel covers if it's a certain amount of wind. So yeah, it's something that could be looked at. I wish I had more time to do stuff like that and play, but I struggle to get all the orders out at the moment because business has absolutely gone mental, and I really appreciate it.
So one of the last things that I think it's important to talk about the wheel covers, it's the easy to put on and take it off, and to people know about that. Can we talk a little bit about that? It's like it takes maybe 15 minutes to put on and then take it off, because I think it's an important thing. A lot of people have good wheels on road bike, and when they want to compete, they want to switch to the time trial and then make the change again. So it's important to know that it's quick and easy to put and then take it off sometimes.
Yeah, so the fitting instructions are all on site, but yeah, you're correct in saying, I think to do a real good job of fitting the Easy Dish, you need to take about an hour doing it.
Yeah.
The great news is taking it off, because if you were at a race and they did deem it illegal to use them, you just need your cassette remover and your disc brake remover of his disc brake, and it literally will take you about 5 minutes. So it takes that added pressure away if you're traveling abroad. And you don't, if you take a disc wheel aboard, obviously you've got a disc wheel, you've got your rear wheel. So if you've just got your rear wheel and your Easy Disc and you're traveling abroad, and on the day, this has happened on a lot of occasions, they deem it unsafe to use a disc wheel, then you can just snip the cables. Just take it off.
That's a big advantage, right?
Otherwise, you're at a race on the day, they deem it illegal to use disc wheels. You don't have your normal wheel with you. You might have been safe and brought it with you, and it might be in your hotel, which is 10 miles away. And then you've got to panic about getting to the hotel in time and getting back. Everyone knows before race day at any kind of level, you do not want to be unsettled. You have everything planned out. So you wake up in the morning, you go to bed knowing everything's done. You wake up in the morning, you literally have your clothes in front of you that you're wearing. You pick them up. Everything is scheduled. And something throwing a curveball into that really can throw you out. Something massive, like you can't use disc wheels. There are a lot of people that haven't been able to like fulfill their races because of scenarios like that. I didn't want to sound like clever about it, but you know, the Easy Discers just literally took their Easy Disc off. There was a lot that went on with that, with one of the European age group World Championships.
I think that's maybe is like the three main advantage of the Easy wheel. The Easy disc covers is the easy to put on and take it off. You don't need to have two wheels. You save money, and you still have the wind benefit because you have more stability in the wind. So I see that a big upgrade, because like I said before, a lot of now fancy TT bikes comes with like 60 millimeters wheels, very good ones. So you just need to stick the Easy Disc, and with more 200 euros, you have like a big, massive gain. So yeah,
Perfect.
I think we covered that. And the last question that I have is just about the future. So You said that you upgrade. Now we have a version that is more light, so it's more close to the weight of a normal top tier disc wheel. So the question is about, are you thinking in another product? Are you thinking on upgrade in the future the disc wheel or something?
I think there's always, you've got to kind of, if you're not moving forward and you're not improving, then you're not doing things right. You've got to always be looking at the next thing that's going on. So obviously we brought out the aero chainring cover. We have another new product, which is going to be really cheap, cost effective. I prefer that word. And we've already done all the aero testing on it, and it's going to save the majority of triathletes around about 4 watts, and it's going to be for under £100. It's literally on the production line, and it's going to suit most people. And it's something that everyone else has got so excited about that it's just, I look at another product which everyone has been talking about that they've got excited about, and I'm just like, that is nothing compared.
But it's I don't know if we can know, but it's a product to put on the bike, or it's like
on the bike.
On the bike.
It's on the bike. I stick with things like, so I don't go into handlebars and everything else which is kind of mass done. I look for a different area and go, right, someone's not done a chainring cover. That's just massive. People are shaving their few little hairs on their arms to try and gain a couple of watts.
Because the big thing is that if you combine the wheel cover with the chainring cover, then you have a big gain. So you can add 2.5 minutes on a 70.3 with the chainring cover, more 30, 44 seconds. You have plus 3 minutes. In Ironman, you have 6 minutes. So if you are trying to perform, without a big cost, you can make it under 300 euros, the both products, and we still have the 10% discount that we don't know. You still have the 10% discount of TriCast, so we can make it happen with around 300 euros for both products, and you save like 6.5 minutes in Ironman. That's pretty big.
It's not fictional as well. This is the thing, it's real. People go, no, it's actually real. You don't have to question me or what I'm saying. How about you just pick out an athlete on one of my Instagrams that's got an easy disc and ask them any questions if you don't believe me about the gains. That this is the great thing. It's hard for people to digest, but once you do, you're just smiling. It's fantastic.
I think that's it. So, finishing in Portuguese. Obrigado então a todos por terem assistido. Espero que tenham gostado deste bocadinho. Acho que até foi giro, apesar de ter sido mais publicidade quase do produto. O meu objetivo é também dar-vos a conhecer um produto que eu gostei bastante, que eu experimentei. Já estou com o produto há algum tempo e estou ansioso por competir nele. Já houve 2 ou 3 pessoas que, aconselhadas por mim, compraram e estão muito satisfeitas, por isso espero que isto possa vir a ser uma descoberta. Tal como o Clint disse na Grã-Bretanha, já há mais pessoas a usar EasyDisc do que propriamente as rodas lenticulares convencionais. Portanto, é realmente uma coisa que funciona. Portanto, se quiserem avançar para comprar as EasyDisc, nós vamos ter os 10% de desconto do TriCast. E, portanto, estejam livres para nos comentários porem as vossas questões, que tanto eu ou o Clint iremos responder. E se tiverem interesse, usem o nosso cupão, que também estarão a ajudar o TriCast. Portanto, eu vou deixar as redes sociais da EasyDisc, da EZGAINS na descrição, e também o vídeo de como montar e tirar, que pode ser interessante e uma curiosidade que vocês tenham. Obrigado então, e até ao próximo episódio.